everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about one of the holidays that I, as a pagan witch, celebrate. Today I am going to be talking about Samhain, and yes, it is pronounced Samhain, not Samhain, which is a mistake that I also made when I was first learning about it. First of all, I hope that you all are having a wonderful spooky season. I know it's a bit different this year than usual because of, everything, but I hope that you are finding a reason to celebrate this special time of year, even if that's carving pumpkins at home or watching your favorite Halloween-y movie, anything that you can do to make yourself feel more in the spirit. I hope that you're doing so, and I hope it's bringing you joy. Also, yes, to address the elephant in the room, I did dye my hair orange so that I can become a pumpkin. Samhain is an ancient holiday that is celebrated on October 31st, same day as Halloween, and we celebrate it for a similar reason. Now, a lot of pagans and a lot of witches celebrate Samhain, but you don't necessarily need to be either one to celebrate. This is a holiday anyone can celebrate who just wants to feel connected to their ancestors or connected to someone who has passed on. Samhain is the day where we believe that the veil between this world and the next world becomes thinnest. It's also commonly called the Witch's New Year because it signals the end of the wheel of the year, where in terms of the god and goddess, the god has died and is now crossing on into the next world, and now the cycle is going to begin anew. I know that's a ton to throw at you guys all at the beginning, but I will take a step back and I will explain everything while I draw this Samhain piece. Anyway, I'm super excited to talk about it. This is my favorite holiday, it's my favorite Sabbat, so let's just jump right on in. I also want to be clear and say that I do still also celebrate Halloween. I basically celebrate all the witchy holidays and all the normal holidays because I basically want to be in a constant state of celebration like every single day of my life. Alright, so before I start talking about Samhain, I do quickly want to talk about this piece. It's heavily inspired by some of the Samhain traditions, as well as maybe some Halloween-y traditions too. I inked the whole thing with a dip pen and some Daniel Smith ink. I haven't used a dip pen in a very long time, but I got some in a palette full packs, and for those of you who don't know, I actually make videos with palette full packs on their channel, so go check that out. But I love all the boxes I get from them, and for October we got a set of dip pens and this beautiful brown ink, and I was just obsessed, so I really wanted to use it. The ink is water soluble, so you'll see toward the middle of the video, after I ink everything, I go over it with some water and a paintbrush to kind of blur the lines and to add value. While the ink is water soluble, it's not alcohol soluble, so for a little bit of extra oomph, I also went in with my Copic markers because they didn't smudge the ink, and I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed working with Copics and this ink. I didn't think that they were going to work together well. It was kind of like a last-minute decision, but I ended up loving it, and I love the piece. I think it's a good representation of Samhain, and I'm super proud of it. And this piece is for sale on my Etsy, so if you would like a little bit of Samhain to welcome into your home, go ahead and pick one up if you'd like. Samhain. Like I mentioned before, Samhain is what we call a Sabbat, and a Sabbat is essentially a witchy holiday. Each Sabbat corresponds with a different time of the year, and you heard me talk about the Wheel of the Year in the intro to this video, so I want to explain to you guys a little bit what that is too. The Wheel of the Year is essentially the calendar. It is what we use to refer to the changing of the seasons and also the cycle of life, death, and rebirth that is a common theme in witchcraft. The cycle of life, death, and rebirth can be felt throughout the Wheel of the Year. Samhain represents death, like I mentioned before. It is the time of year where we feel like the veil between our world and the next is thinnest, but you can feel it within the Wheel of the Year as well. You can see leaves falling off trees and dying, crops are being harvested and therefore are not able to bear any more food, plants are dying, it's getting colder. This is death as we can physically see and experience. This is felt throughout all the winter months, starting from October going into November, December, January. But then we experience rebirth with spring. Everything comes back to life almost miraculously, and we experience life throughout summer and into the beginning of autumn. and then the cycle starts anew with life, death, and rebirth. So in Samhain, we celebrate death, which can sound a little bit funny to some people. Like, why would you want to celebrate death, right? Well, for us, for a lot of witches like myself, death is something to be celebrated. Death is a natural, beautiful part of life, because without death, we can't have rebirth and we can't have life. Something that brings me a lot of peace is actually thinking about the cycle and thinking about how death is just a natural part of our life. It's something that, you know, is a pretty much constant for everyone. And for me, dealing with chronic illness, thinking about this cycle and thinking about death in a more positive way is very, very helpful to me. Samhain is very special to me because of that. But of course, it's not just a time for thinking about it, it's also the time where we can physically feel that the veil is thinner and we are closer to communicating with the dead than in any other part of the year. Now, I know this is where I'm going to lose some people because not everyone believes in an afterlife or spirits or anything like that, and that's totally fine. You don't have to necessarily agree with everything I'm saying to learn about it, you know? But for me personally, I do feel like it's easier to do spirit work around Samhain or around Halloween. I do this by setting up a special altar in my witchy space. I will put photos of the people that I have lost on my space, and I will give them offerings too. For example, someone who's a constant on my altar is my Nana, who passed quite a few years ago, and her favorite thing in the world was Dr. Pepper. Like, she was always drinking Dr. Pepper. So I make sure every year to put up a photo of my Nana on my altar, and I also buy her a big bottle of Dr. Pepper. Something that's really important during Samhain is taking the time to acknowledge those who have already passed on and spending some time with them and thinking about them and meditating, even if you don't try to contact them directly, just taking some time to give your respect to them and remember them. And of course, offering them a little something that they liked while they were alive. I think this is really important to do because for a lot of people, death is really scary, and it's of course very sad whenever we lose someone, but I think that having some time to reflect on death and to reflect on those that we've lost, it makes it so that they're not really lost, because they still live on in our memory, and we still honor them, and we still make them a place in our home. And I think one of the saddest things is to kind of like forget someone after they passed on, or to not acknowledge them anymore. So I try to make it a point every Samhain to really think about the people that I've lost and think about how much I loved them and all of the memories that I have with them, and just make them a little space in my home so that they aren't forgotten, they aren't lost, they still live on within me and within my memory and, you know, within this very special place that I have set up for them. A lot of people will try to connect with spirits too. I myself haven't tried a whole bunch because I'm not that knowledgeable about it, if I'm being honest. I'm only very recently starting to dabble in spirit work. But some things that people commonly do is use a spirit board or a Ouija board to try to contact those that have passed on. They may hold seances, they may even just take walks to their graveyard where their loved ones are and try to connect with them that way. I know this is also where I'm going to lose some people who have very differing opinions on that, which is totally fine. If connecting with spirits isn't something that you're into, you absolutely don't have to do it. The beautiful thing about Samhain and any holiday, any Sabbat, is that you find what you want to celebrate and that's how you celebrate it. There is no rule. I'm gonna step in real quick just to say a quick word from our sponsor. Wow! This video is being sponsored again by Jupiter CBD oil. Jupiter has been a total game changer in helping me deal with my anxiety. I love it, it's awesome, it's great. But the coolest thing about this sponsorship is that Jupiter is giving away 3 of these adorable little trial packs. I'm going to open this up so I can show you guys. Look how cute this is. They are these adorable little apothecary vials, and each one has 1 serving of CBD oil. So if you've ever been interested in CBD oil and interested in Jupiter in particular, Do make sure to join this giveaway so you can try it for yourself, and afterwards you get to keep the cute vials! If you would like to join the giveaway and get one of these for yourself, all you have to do is drop a comment below, and I want you to comment with one thing that makes you feel really calm. So for me, besides CBD oil of course, it's drinking a nice hot cup of tea. That always helps me relax after a really stressful time. A few rules for the giveaway: you do have to be 18 years or older, and you also have to be inside the US. Like I said, I have 3 of these to give away, so there will be 3 winners. Another thing I wanted to point out is that these, you cannot buy them. They are only given away to those partnered with Jupiter to give for giveaways, so this is like a really cool exclusive thing that Jupiter is doing, so thank you so much, Jupiter, for giving me these so I can send them to you guys, and I'm just super jazzed about this. Jupiter has been one of my favorite sponsors for the channel, and I just love them. I love them so much. If you would like more information on Jupiter, make sure to check out the description box below. Also check out in the little eye icon up here. I have a whole video where I talked about them, so please give that a look as well. I will pick winners in 1 week after this video goes live. You can save a good percentage off your order. All that information will also be in the description box, so be sure to look out for it. Anyway, that's enough of your time, let's get back into the video. Of course, with the veil being thinner, that also means that there are other creatures besides spirits who may try to cross over and create mischief. Something that was commonly thought of was fairies would try to cross over and create all kinds of mayhem. So what people in ancient times would do is they would dress up as animals or creatures so that they wouldn't get tricked by the spirits or the fairies or any kind of creature that may want to, you know, play some jokes or, you know, try to cause a little bit of trouble. That's where a lot of the inspiration for Halloween comes from. Halloween kind of took a bunch of the Celtic traditions that Samhain comes from and kind of amalgamated it into its own separate holiday, but without all the paganism, which in my opinion is a shame. Samhain is also a time for feasting, of course, because if there's nothing witches love more than celebrating, it's eating and drinking, and it's awesome. Samhain is the last of the harvest festivals, and it's basically the last time where you can harvest a bunch of food and eat it before it goes bad. So people will make gigantic feasts, and they will eat cakes and pies and soups and stews, and basically anything that you want to eat, we'll just have a huge feast and eat it and celebrate. For me personally, it's always been a tradition in my family to make a big pot of chili and a big pot of cornbread and eat that on Halloween, so I still do that even though now I celebrate Samhain. And like I said, I do still celebrate both. I love everything about the traditional Halloween. I love the vibe and the spookiness in the movies, but now I just have another side that I celebrate too that's a bit more mindful and a bit more bittersweet. I also talked briefly about the god and goddess too at the beginning of this video, and this could constitute its whole own video if you guys would like. But the symbolism of the god and goddess just also correlates in with the Wheel of the Year, and basically the goddess, which has 3 faces, the maiden, mother, and crone, she ages throughout the Wheel of the Year. So she is a young maid in the spring, she's a mother in the summer, and she becomes a crone in the autumn and the winter. Likewise, the god also goes through a life cycle throughout the year as well. In Samhain, he is an old man and he dies. Throughout the winter, he is dead, and he is reborn in the spring. All right, that's not right. He dies at Samhain, and at the winter solstice is when he is reborn, and in spring he becomes a young man. In summer he is an older man, middle-aged man, until he becomes elderly in the autumn and then dies again in Samhain. And that just still correlates to the whole idea of life, death, and rebirth. That is a huge pillar of witchcraft. And there you have it. That is Samhain. So when you hear people talking about Samhain, that's what we're talking about. Like I said, this is my favorite Sabbat. I love this time of year. I've always loved Halloween, and I loved Samhain the more I learned about it, and it's just, I think this is a really special and magical time of year, and it's where I feel the most witchy, the most powerful. I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning more about why this time of year is so special to me, and maybe you even want to, you know, bring a little Samhain into your own lives. I think that would be super cool. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. Remember to please check out Jupiter and enter my giveaway if you would like to win a little cute alchemy kit of CBD oil for yourself. And also check out my Etsy because this is going to be available as a print. So thank you all for watching this video with me. I love you all. Blessed Samhain, happy Halloween, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!